Hey everyone, today we're going to do something a little different. I usually do RimWorld tutorials, but today I wanted to share with everybody how I do an effect, what I call the sticker effect on YouTube. So if you notice in a lot of my thumbnails, there's like this white outline that I do around everything, right? Like you'll have, I have a character like this and there'll be like there will be a bunch of white around here and a nice little sticker effect. So what I want to show everybody today is how I do that and how it's just super simple and really easy. So, if you want to just do it for like your own artwork or if you want to do it for your own YouTube channel, what have you, I can show you how to do that. Right, so let's begin. So it all boils down to a couple steps. So the first step, obviously, is we want to erase everything around it. We want to trace our subject as best as we can. In this case, Mr. Baby Yoda here. I know he's not always called Baby Yoda, but it's okay. So the trick is, right, so we get to, what I do is I'm using this just whatever free program that I've been paying. Yeah, so the way I would do this usually is I would get in here and I would erase slowly. You just kind of trace along the edges, just real clean, real careful. If you need more detail, you can go ahead and zoom in and you just go along the edge and you just make it real clean as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect because if you zoom out, right, no one's going to know. No one's going to notice this. If you do like the actual size of the image, no one's going to worry about that. But you do want to get it as close as you can. So see, like I see a touch of green there. I can go back and make some edits real quick. I can go back here and there. And you just do that all the way around until it looks good. And this is the most time consuming part of the whole process, but it is very much worthwhile. Yeah, you just kind of keep doing that back and forth until you get it. Right, so I will go ahead and time lapse this and I will be right back. And there you go. Aside from this little bit here, we have a pretty cleanly traced Baby Yoda. So now what we want to do is now that we have his outline, we want to isolate him from his background. So, oh, what's that? You erased in the wrong layer. Fear not, dear viewer, for I have a solution. If you're like me, sometimes you make mistakes, you get really focused. But the way to fix that is you go ahead and copy this layer, right? So we're going to do Control C. Now we're going to hold Control Z until everything is undone. There you go. Nice clean layer, fully returned. Now, remember that little mistake I had? Remember that mistake I had over here? And also the fact that I drew all of that on the wrong layer? Well, if we push Control V, it's all back. And there you go. All our work is not in vain. Just in case you ever, really screw up like I just did. But yeah, there you go. So next thing we're going to do, turn this layer off, isolate this layer, and now that we have the basic outline, we can go in with the big brush, right? I like to do grid pattern, increase the brush size to massive. You just start taking chunks. So you just chunk it out one big thing at a time. So we have that nice basic outline. So we can kind of go a little more freehand because we've given ourselves a buffer, right? Because we don't want to erase little Grogu. We just want to erase everything around him. So we start with the big brush, go to smaller brushes and smaller brushes until we get all that outline nice and tidy away from him. Then we can have, right, the whole this thing isolated. Remember, if you're using a tablet like me, or with a mouse too, I suppose, make sure to go ahead and lift stuff off, right? Because say you do screw up, like, oh no, I erased some of his ear. That way you only have to do, you do just a little bit. So, you go in here, you go in here. You'd hate to do like all of this, right? And then like just barely nick it and like, oh crap, because you have to undo everything. So if you lift your brush often, right, you do just a little bit, and then, oh no, I did over a bit, and it just comes right back, and you don't lose all your work. Back to this. I'll be done in just a second. Yeah, one thing to note while I'm doing this is notice how this tablet I'm using has touch sensitivity, so I can shrink the my eraser is more dynamic than you might have with the mouse. But say you are just using the mouse, it's really important to find a brush size that works for you. So obviously, it's all about balancing the bigger versus smaller, right? Finer details versus more spread. Because with these little things, right, you really want to get in there and you just want to hit what you hit. You know, you need some detail work to get these corners and get these grooves, right? But then it'll take you forever if you're using a tiny brush to erase. So it's all about balancing, right? Like getting the small brush to do the detail work and then getting the bigger brushes to do the big work. So just something to keep in mind. He is mostly done. I mean, it's not the cleanest job, but it's okay because it's just for tutorial purposes. But there you go. There's a little baby Yoda. So we have this layer, and we're going to go ahead and name that real quick because naming layers is very important. So we're going to call this Grogu top. And we're going to go ahead and call this other layer base. This is going to be the base for everything. So now we got Grogu top. Now we can bring the base back, and you see it's very clean, right? Everything looks good. So we're going to go back to Grogu top, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and duplicate him, right? And we're going to call this Grogu outline. So now that we have that, we're going to go to filter, hue, maximum brightness, and I mean maximum. The next thing we want to do is apply a Gaussian blur. So this will add a slight glow effect, right? So you have like a value of 1 doesn't do much, 5 does some more, but we want to go for about, remember this is going to determine the thickness of your outline, so we want to go for about 6. Actually, let's dial it back to 5. There we go. So now we have 5. We're going to go ahead and duplicate this 1, 2, 3 times. And see, now it's starting to look like something, right? Now we're starting to get that nice outline. Now we're going to hit Control E 1, 2, 3 times. And as you can see, now we have a nice outline. We still have the first Grogu because this needs to apply underneath it, because if we took it off, it's just a white outline. So now we have Grogu outline. We can go ahead and toggle that back on and off so you guys can see what I'm talking about. There you go. Now, if we want to refine this a little further, what we can do is we would copy him 1, 2, 3 more times, Control E 3 times, and then bam, we got a really proper outline, as you can see. But it doesn't end here. So say we wanted to do a little more with this. So we can go ahead and duplicate this. And obviously the more you duplicate, it gets thicker to a point. Because when you duplicate too much, like if you just go hog wild with it, yeah, they can kind of look nice, right? It's a very thick, nice, it's a nice sticker, right? It looks very sticker-like. But if you zoom in, you start to lose quality. If we want to do more with this, right? Say we wanted to make it thicker. So we're going to go ahead and undo these. And then, yeah, I'll show you guys from the top. This looks good. A little more clean. So we're going to go ahead and duplicate this 3 times. Okay, so now it's still looking pretty good. So that's good. So we're going to go ahead and combine this one more time, right? To get real as thick as we can, keep that edge as clean as we can, because we don't want the fade anymore. We also don't want it to get like pixelated like it was before. So we're going to go back to our Gaussian blur. We're going to increase the Gaussian blur as needed. So say we want like just a real thick chunky sticker. So we go to 14, and now we're going to just do like we did before. 1, 2, 3, 4. I like to do it in sets of 4 because it just seems to have a cleaner effect. And then, yeah, now you can see. Actually, we're going to take one of those layers off. We're going to take one off. So, and then recombine. And there you go. It's a nice chunky sticker. Our boy's looking good. He's got a nice clean outline. You can see from the smaller thumbnail, you know, more the size that you would expect for a YouTube thumbnail maybe. He looks really good. It's just absolutely fantastic. So, there you go. There's a nice sticker effect. And of course, if you want to do even more with that, you can copy that again, select this, and then we're going to go to Gaussian blur and just do a big fat, like just boom, looking good. Let's see, 42, because that is the answer. And there you go. He's got a nice glow. Makes him look all fancy. And then of course, for the last thing I want to show you for this tutorial is, say you wanted to do something like, I don't know, you want to do some color, right? You want to brighten it up a bit. So the trick with that is we take this first layer. Again, just as usual, you're getting used to the process. You duplicate it. We're going to, first of all, we're going to combine this to disambiguate everything. That is the flashy bit. This is the underneath. And if you're ever unsure, you just isolate everything. And then, yeah, so that's that, that's that, that's that, right? So then we're going to leave those two. And what we want is this one to be color. So we go to up here to select. We go to create selection from layer opacity. Now we have the whole layer isolated and we have this nice outline over it, right, from this tool right here. So now that we have that, we can go to brush and see what color do we want. We want green, because Grogu looks good with green. We're gonna go ahead and do, actually, you know, we'll just take his green color, and we'll go a little bit brighter, or a little bit warmer, I should say, a little more saturation. Then what we're gonna do is get the brush, big, and just paint all over it. Just 100%, just paint all over. And there you go. Now you have a different outline. You can go ahead and turn this off, and yeah, now you have this. And it's just wherever you want it. But yeah, you can have a nice little green outline on the outside. Or what you can do is, if you want a nice glow effect, go back to Gaussian blur, and bam. You can put it on top, put it on bottom. It's going to obviously change the nature of the image a bit wherever you put it. But yeah, you just figure out where you want to put it and how it looks best to you. It's up to you how you want to play with this. Because to me, like, this looks very good, but this looks very good too. And this would be the phase where I'm sitting there on my thumbnail like, you know, what looks better? But yeah, there's the process. So now you can do whatever you choose in your own. Personally, yeah, I like this a little more subtle. But yeah, I want to make it a little more strong. No, it's getting too out of hand. There we go. So we're going to go ahead and combine those two. We're going to go ahead and Gaussian blur another time. Let me see. Because I really wanted to reach out. I want it to be subtle, but not too subtle. So that's before, that's after. I'm just using Control Z, Control Y. And then yeah, before, after. So it looks nice. He's all golden, you know, and you get in there and just say like, oh, you know, it looks like a thumbnail. You know, just put some text on it like, oh, look, it's, here, go ahead and make some text real quick. Give him a label. Make him labeled so we know who he is. And there you go, it's Grogu. And yeah, so there's your thumbnail. Use it wisely. Now you're armed with knowledge to become more powerful and eventually conquer the world, but in a good way, right? Wait, right? Now you know how to create the sticker effect on your YouTube channel stuff, or whatever art you choose. But yeah, that's the basics. Super easy. Shouldn't take you long. Once you got it, once you get it, you got it. It's not an issue. So anyways, good luck with future projects, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Or else.